Hello everyone, welcome to OBN Voice of the People. This is our weekly program, Talk to OBN. I'm Ambo Makasa. I have a guest. My today's guest is Ali Shaham Ali from Minnesota, and we're going to discuss about the current affairs in the country and regional affairs. Stay tuned. Sir, thank you for joining us, and first, can you introduce yourself?
It was my pleasure. I would like to thank OBN, Mr. Ambo Magasa, for giving me opportunity to speak on behalf of my people. And thanks you for having me.
To begin with, how do you see the progresses in Afar recently?
Well, I would like to begin with the credit go to Oromo the Giros, who pushed the TPLF out of power in 2018. My thought and prayer to go to their family. Of course, since the fall off of TPLF, I can say it was the beginning or reborn for Afar regional states. We can say Afar regional states only have 3 years. In the past 27 years, we didn't have no state, no government. Basically, the Afar regional state was an integral part of Tigray. Afar budget was going to Mekelle. The commander-in-chief of Afar region was the president of Tigray, or with other military, he was dictating to our president or puppet for the last 20 years. So we really enjoy the freedom of reborn. Today, we shown the world and the rest of Ethiopia who we are. Mm-hmm. We have our own president. Despite the difficulty, we have our own budget, we have our own bank, and we decide for ourselves. It's a new journey and new beginning.
Great. And how do you see Ethiopia post-change? Now we are experiencing a change after the Prime Minister Abiy took office as the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, and now though we are facing some internal and international pressure, how do you see that?
I had the privilege, even though I was in an Ethiopian street and sacrificing my life in Ethiopia, I had the opportunity to be part of Ethiopian people. Diaspora in Minnesota. He was very outspoken, very active to support the change that we know today. And sadly, we're all excited that we have an opportunity to receive the visit of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Nama Magarsa and the rest of the delegation. It was a new hope for us. We were seeing a golden opportunity. Ethiopia, once for all, will put behind the oppression, the killing, rape, looting, and begin a new chapter of democracy. Or every Ethiopian, regardless their partners, ethnic partners, will live freely. But sadly, it was short-lived. TPLF have the know-how, have resources. They lead over 38 billion that we know, maybe over $100 billion. They use those resources and those elements. He was working with them for the last 27 years to destabilize Ethiopia. We notice or was ongoing ethnic unrest and conflict in every corner of Ethiopia. That's basically, they derail the reform we were waiting for. So, as we know today, the conclusion of the TPLF prepared this war for the last 27 years. This is not anything new. Either we will lead Ethiopia forever. If we can't, we're going to destroy Ethiopia. So that's what we knew. That's what we're trying to do with, of course, the support of the Western country. Sadly, as U.S. citizen, it's a shame for me that the United States role an important role in this campaign against democratically elected government of Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm. I see. As you know, democracy is a majority rule. Now we have democratically elected government in the country, but the Western countries are in support of the rebels instead of supporting democratically elected government. And why they are doing that? Because some expertise are raising as they have their own hidden agenda to stabilize the Horn regime.
Well, I think that is clear. I believe today Africans, either in diaspora or home, are very educated. Basically, most of the leaders graduate for prestigious colleges around the world. So the time has changed. We're not in a colonial era. that we used to give to African sugar and chocolate and take our gold. Time has changed. So hidden agenda, I think it's not hidden because it's clear, it's out. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to really figure out and understand what's going on in the Horn of Africa. One, of course, an American. When you come to American interests, I fully support Democratic Party or Republican, regardless who they are, any president, because American interest is my interest. Having said that, as African American, and I want America and the rest of the world see Africa as independent nations. People can decide for themselves, can negotiate with anyone they want, an equal footing, a win-win. After Africa, we have the largest black population in the United States. We have over a million, or a couple of millions African diaspora who can advocate, who can be the best ambassador than anyone in Africa for American interest. However, the government took a different approach. Majority of us, we disagree. We call on our government to correct the course, to respect the will of Ethiopian people. In the United States, after every election, you lose or you win, they always pronoun. The voter has spoken. We must listen to American citizens. The will of the people. If that we apply to them, we should do the same thing for Ethiopia. We need to accept the will of Ethiopian people. He democratically elected Abiy Ahmed as their president. Now, long ago, when the TPLF used to win 99.6%, used to say free and fair election. We may not always agree the way democracy works. This is a sovereign nation. It's up to Ethiopians to agree or disagree with their electoral system or elected official. It's not our role, no, our media's role to try to correct or to change the course of a country. This is not a war that Ethiopia should wage alone. The entire African countries' honor is in line. Ethiopia fighting a war for African countries, all African 55 states. And I think we should do better more. We should do more. The African Union or IGAD should come out and defend the position for Ethiopia. It's sad that some of them, some officials, openly supporting the TPLF, but Ethiopia will prevail.
Great. TPLF is the one who started war against Ethiopia, even they vote to dismantle the country. But having that, some media are, reporting as TPLF is a victim, though it's aggressor. And how do you see that?
Well, a TPLF have better relationship with the rest of the world than Abiy Ahmed. They looted, they stole 38 billion plus, maybe over $100 billion. Money talk in the Western country. You pay, you get what you want. So this is what happened. But what the mistake is, we have to look back to 27 years. What was Ethiopia? The Afar, the Oromo, even the rest of people was second-class citizen. We have no say. The business was owned by TPLF. Majority of security apparatus was TPLF. Foreign embassy was occupied by TPLF. Very lucrative business belonged to TPLF. Basically, Ethiopia was, the wealth of TPLF, without saying the Tigray people, because we need to make a difference between the Tigrayan, poor Tigrayan people and the leader of TPLF. If Ethiopia, the TPLF was so good, they have 27 years to give us a better democracy, a better system. No, they failed. We have to see the record of what they have done. But sadly, the Western media and governments today, they portray the TPLF, the aggressor, as a victim, and the victim as a villain. How can you accuse us of Afar? We never invaded any state or any country, but you always defend the integrity of Ethiopia and the integrity of our territory. They killed so many kids, rape our women. Even yesterday, they were shelling Kasagita areas and Eliwa with Canon 155 millimeter, killing civilians. No word from the Western country, no word from my own government, Biden administration, or French, or British, or any other country. So we see what's going on. They fully support in the TPLF. That is wrong. As a diaspora, as an African country, or as African American, I believe, is in the Congress, should have stood up for the motherland. Most of black people call motherland the Africa. We, the Afar, call motherland Ethiopia. Regardless what is the problem, we always come to Ethiopia. Eritrean refugee come to Ethiopia. The Afar refugee legendary in October 13, over 1,000 people come to El Da'ar Warada, Ethiopia. This is our motherland. That's why we defend it to the teeth, the integrity, and the border of this great nation.
I see. Now, Afars are fighting against the TPLF junta. They are fighting to protect the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ethiopia. And what has to be there so as to strengthen the cooperation between the Afar and other regional states?
Well, I would like to take my Ethiopian brothers and sisters. Most of you maybe didn't hear the history of Afar. The history of Afar was buried in the past. It's the kind of reborn of Afar history. To read history when Ethiopia or even other African countries claim that Ethiopia never been colonized. Of course, Ethiopia never been colonized. Ethiopia never been colonized because of the sacrifice and visible heroes who every time or every year and decade after decade push the foreign invader, either from European or from Arab country, for Asian country. We black them all. This credit is supposed to go, and Ethiopian people should recognize the sacrifice made by our ancestors in the past. The only time when the foreigner come through Ethiopia was through Tigray. Again, we always celebrate the Adwa victory. We were the backbone again to defeat the Italian. The history is our witness. Today, in 2021, as we speak, the Afar is in the battlefield, in the corridor of Addis, Djibouti. Afar man and woman, for last 15 days, fighting the TPLF junta in the front. We pushed them several times. They have to kill all 5 million Afar in order to go to the corridor. Not only we defending the existence of Ethiopia, but we always defending our future, our existence is in line. The TPLF put in place, like I said earlier, in 1976, a charter that they will take or control or incorporate the Afar regional state and Dankalia into Great Tigray. They were talking about the secession. Even before, during their leadership, they always saying, if we separate from Ethiopia, the Tigray people and our Afar brothers and sisters, we're going to separate it. No, thank you. We love our brothers and sisters from Tigray in Tigray, the same way we love any other brother and sister, wherever they are. But we're the only state in Ethiopia. He didn't kick out other ethnic group. Every Ethiopian people live peacefully, side by side in Afar region. Even though we're Muslim, we didn't burn one single church. This is our culture. We respect others. We respect the religion of others. And we always welcoming people. Think about it. When November 4th of 2020, in the war broke in Tigray region, the massive, the Tigray people come to Afar region as a refuge. Well, internal place people, because they're Ethiopian citizen. We welcome them. We shelter them. We give them food. We welcome them. But what they have done in June, start killing us. For last 2 weeks, when we talk about checkhold, that Tigray is under siege, Tigray is an embargo, people will die for... What's happened in the Afar region in the last 15 days? There is no water in Samara, in Mille, in Logia. There is no electricity. There is no internet because the TPLF cut them off. No one single media or one foreign country condemned them because they supporting what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But we will continue. Afar people will prevail. Ethiopian will prevail. And I want to thank Ethiopian defending the integrity of Ethiopia and sacrificing their life for the motherland.
Mm-hmm. Having all this information, the atrocities that has been committed by the TPLF none of Western media reported their reality on the ground. And why they do this, and what expect from the Ethiopian media to make the international community know their reality on the ground?
And I think after the contact I had in the last 2 weeks, around the Addis and meeting diplomats, and I think they realize the mistake has been done. They do realize, and they always realize that the TPLF are not that powerful. They betrayed them. Like when they took over Kombolcha and Dase, there was no one single bullet. They did the Mille now. Yesterday, there was a lot of tweets from their supporter. So the Mille is under siege. But the difference in Afar, when we hear they're coming, we take a position. We don't run. We fight back. That's why they're not able, the tactic work other places doesn't work with us. Going back to the media, of course, like I said, the media are paid to do that. But it's the responsibility of African country and also the African diaspora in the United States to lobby their congressman, their senator, and more importantly, to talk, to speak, and to lobby the African American senator and congressman in order to protect the integrity of independent country Ethiopia. But the media will continue until they get paid. Like I say, money talks. Ethiopia doesn't pay them left or right. They have enough resources they store from Ethiopia. They pay in those lobbyists. So the lobbyists do the work, and the media deliver. But we all know now that is not true. Even I believe democratic people and government, some people realize, I believe that what's going on is wrong. And if the Ethiopian people stick together and the diaspora stick together, and I believe the lights ahead of us, the better days of Ethiopia, and Ethiopia will prevail. If Ethiopia prevails, Africa will prevail. This is an African fight. This is an African war. African countries should be in all together.
I see. You are an American, and as Americans, some Western countries are urging their citizens to leave the capital, and they are reporting as the capital, Finfinne, is under siege. Have you ever seen any chaos and problem in the city?
In a chaos in the tweet, in Facebook, in the Western media. Of course, there are even some reports that some people I talk to from foreign country that they put pressure on them to leave. This is a narrative to create a chaotic situation and a fear, because the TPLF doesn't have a military means to take over Addis of the rest of the country. So by implanting the fear, it's worked in some area. I have so many calls last night when someone tweet that Mille was under siege. I have made maybe more than 20 calls. It is true that I say, no, this is propaganda. Why are you guys playing into the fear? So those fear tactics played in some places. They wanted to replicate in other places. So I think many, even American or African people who visited, I've seen a report that there is no fear. I live here in Addis for the last 3 weeks. You have no problem. You can go anywhere you want. I took a taxi recently when I came here. There is no fear. There's fear only in the mind of some people and the media to try to portray it and to scare people and create a chaotic situation that government or country can fall. And I think Ethiopians are better equipped than that. They're better than that. And I think each one of us had to do a better job to inform and people really what's going on. And I believe the Ethiopian media, you asked me earlier, should do a better job, to show not only the world, but also the Ethiopian people what's really behind those manipulations, those fake news, portraying, the TPLF, coming, in Addis, they're here with them 50. I've been here for more than 3 weeks. They were saying for 3 weeks, they're at the entrance, at the door, 10 miles or 10 kilometers from Addis Ababa. So maybe I don't know how they're walking, but it takes a long time for them to come here.
I see. Prime Minister Abiy, since he took office, he introduced the mechanism called synergy, made them coming together and building a nation. And TPLF has been accusing the Ethiopian government for breaking the constitution and the federalism in the country. I mean, now since the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed took office, the Sidama people got their own regional state, and all regional states have their own elected president and legitimate government. And can we say that the current Ethiopian government is breaking the constitution and the federalism?
Well, to begin with, going back, if the TPLF was accusing Abiy Ahmed for changing the course, or Madammar will be the dismantle ethnic federal system, as Afar we say, ethnicity yesterday, ethnicity today, ethnicity tomorrow. Why? Before 1991, we was second-class citizen. We lived for second-class citizen for 27 years. But one thing for sure, we didn't control our resources. We didn't have our own budget. In the surface, the name was great to have Afar regional state. But now, after 27 years, if now basically TPLF fighting itself today, they have a 27 years to deliver. When we talk about ethnic federal system, this is Pan-Africanism itself, promoting African language of each ethnic group, regardless their size. This is the core value of who we are. So the TPLF failed to deliver what they advocating for. They even go now, we're going to have a better system than even ethnic federal system. You know, it will be confederation. Will be maybe everybody will be by himself independent. You know, some people buy into it. So going back to Abiy administration will government with dismantle or not, we have to look not what Abiy will do, what is the will of Ethiopian people. Ethiopian people who speak, this is two things in politics, in life, is what you have and what you wish to have, right? Today, what we have today is ethnic federal system. And people are happy with it and they want to keep it. So if that's the case, if Abiy is government and elected official, they want to have hope to get re-elected in the next 5 years, they don't want to change the course. And I don't think Ethiopian people will go this way regardless what TPLF scare tactic will work or not. For sure, do I have some disagreement with Ethiopian? Yeah, it will be always. That's what democracy is. We can disagree, but we don't going to start a war. We can talk, But the core value of the system we have today is what we have. So we need to improve what we have rather than trying to get what we don't have. That each state will be can decide for themselves, and we push further democracy, and have a better democratic system that will grow. It's an infancy, like I said earlier. The African democracy is an infancy. We have to give it time. We have to give it a chance to grow.
Mm-hmm. I see. Here, as we have changes taking place in the country, and what shortcomings that you have observed the change, and what do you suggest?
Well, I think now we're in the middle of the war. We are in a state of emergency. People dying left or right, regardless which ethnic they belong to. Life is precious. Any Ethiopian can be Amara, Oromo, Somali, Benishangul, Afar, it doesn't matter which ethnic group. It's about time, as a black, as African, to stop killing each other. Look around the world. Djibouti, Somalia, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Sudan, Cameroon, Chad, Mali, Guinea, South African Republic. The whole Africa is burning. What's going on with us? We have to get out of the mentality that for most of countries being colonized, pointing the finger in a white man or America or French. No, it's us. It's not a white man. It's not Biden who's killing, Ethiopian people here. It's Ethiopian people. So it's up to African people to realize in the 21st century, we can do better than that. Of course, now, we have to come to the conclusion of this war. Some people advocate for military solution. Some people advocate for peaceful solution. As Ali, I would like to see the war end today and find a better solution. Come to the negotiation table to negotiate, to talk to each other rather than kill each other. If find a peaceful solution, We can build a better Ethiopia and live in harmony. Today, you was talking about we have an ethnic-based system. That's the grievances. Think about it. When you tell Oromo 20 years ago, he says, I'm from Oromia. Why? I do it because of the grievances. I've heard the same thing. Somali, the same thing. If we have a social justice, if you have a better system to govern, if you have a freedom of speech, if people can decide, and slowly, all those border we have, all the differences will disappear. Now, Afar and Oromo marry each other. Somali and Afar marry each other. Amara and Tigray, slowly, we're going to melt in. We'll be melting back. It's already melting back, Ethiopia. Well, we went back to this system because we suffered for so long in the past because of those grievances. Even Tigray themselves, they suffered during, Haile Selassie, during their time. That's why this system, I believe, today, Ethiopians need to find a solution together. Regardless of our differences, regardless of what's happened, we can come to the table and build a better future for our children, for our grandchildren.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go to the whole region and having geopolitics as a background. And how do you see the strategic importance of Ethiopia in the region?
Well, the symbolic part of Ethiopia was always carrying the weight that Ethiopia now been colonized. Ethiopia is the only country who have, regardless the point of view of some Ethiopian, Amharic language is an official language. It's African language. It's not imported. It's not French. It's not British. It's not Arab. No. Ethiopia have these differences. Ethiopia have, with its large population, over 110 million, with all natural resources. That's why my dream was when Abiy Ahmed come to the power, to see a greater Horn of African country. United States of Horn of Africa can be born. The Afar people, I say, we can play an important role. We live in Ethiopia, we live in Eritrea, we live in Djibouti. So for us, we already move on as Afar. And I believe Ethiopia can play the role to bring all those people together. After a while, it doesn't mean if you have a freedom, if you have a security, if you have a peace, economic development, healthcare, clean water, clean air, access to electricity, access to internet. If we have that, there is no point to call yourself Ethiopian and Djiboutian, Somali, Uganda, or Eritrean and Sudanese. It's possible, and Ethiopia can play an important role. In order to do that, let's get out of the mess. We have to get out of the behavior, put the country in the right track, and from that point, we can work in economic and political regional integration. There is a hope, there is a possibility, and we can do it. We can even be the driving force for the future United States of Africa. Maybe it's a dream today, but it could happen. Maybe my children will see, but we can plant the seed of Africanism, which is already planted way before me. A lot of great leaders, died for it, spoke about it. Now the young Kemi Seba, who are around, from Franchises and from Guinea, he's advocate. We have many talents. We have many educated people who can lead us toward greater African integration and beyond Horn of Africa, beyond, around the entire African country. We can have this hope. Africa is the richest continent in the world and the poorest because our political system is failure. Without accusing the foreigner or America or Chinese or Europeans. And I believe Ethiopia can play a role. And Afar, we are ready to play a role. We're looking forward to play this role. You can see our president, Awal Arba, when giving a talk about the ongoing crisis, about the unity of the country, about how we can bring Ethiopian together. And I think the Afar people are well equipped. Our culture gives us the edge because we can live peacefully with anyone in Horn of Africa and beyond. We live with Somalis, we live with Tigray, with Oromo, with Amara.
Adwa victory is what delivered African independence, right? And what message do you have to African countries to stand along with Ethiopia?
I think it's more of responsibility, and I think it's more of responsibility for African country and African people and African diaspora to say no, to stood up with Ethiopia, with this great nation. Ethiopia fighting the war of the entire Africa. This is our time. This is our moment. And again, in Adwa battle, we play a major role. We still are playing a major role today to defend in Ethiopia. And I hope and I wish that we can come out with this mess together. And I believe we have a capacity, we have the know-how and resources to bring this country back together.
Following the Adwa victory, African developed the spirit that yes, we can be free and we can win the whites, the colonialists, and we can win aggressors. And now Ethiopia is showing them another victory, which is the Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Dam. Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Dam is just the only project which is being funded by Ethiopians. The finance is also from Ethiopia, and engineers are Ethiopian. And how do you see the impact of the Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Dam in awaken Africans?
And to begin with, I hope it will be a very successful, dam, and we provide electricity for many African countries. But another thing, it go back to independence. What can an independent country do? Can they decide for themselves? That's where lies the reality. If Ethiopia decided to build a dam when decades ago the British decided to give away Ethiopian water for Egypt, we do care about our Sudanese brothers and sisters or our Egyptian brothers and sisters. But at the meantime, we have to care about our Ethiopian people as well. So Africa could find a balance between all three countries and working together. But the problem is, again, when you're not free, when you not decide independently, that's why we have a problem. I think the Sudanese and Egyptian brothers and sisters, or government, my mistake, a government take a different approach. And I think Ethiopia again will prevail, and we'll have a free, very cheap electricity in the Horn of Africa and beyond, and that will realize that will benefit them as well. That can provide electricity for many African countries.
I see. Let's come to the current approach in the country. There is a slogan: Ethiopia follows African problems, African solution for African problems. Now, Ethiopia is following African way to solve the dispute between the three countries, though some countries are trying to interfere in the dispute between the three countries. What do you suggest on that?
And I think, like I said earlier, the EU should do a better job. African Union, because African Union leadership failed in many occasions. We failed. We said we're going to eradicate the civil war. We're going to eradicate poverty, malarias, and so on. So it's a golden opportunity to catch up for African Union and IGAD in this crisis. They can capitalize. They can show the world. They don't need help for any power, foreign power. They can do their own thing. It has to be African solution. It's an African problem. An African leader should do better to support Ethiopia in this crisis and find a peaceful solution. And they're working on it. I wish them the best. The President Obasanjo make a trip to Ethiopia, make a trip to Tigray, and I hope there is a window of opportunity to find an African solution without any foreign intervention.
Talking about the Tigray, and now Ethiopia is at war with the TPLF, not with the TPLF. Some experts are saying Ethiopia is at war with the mercenaries and foreign powers in other countries, and so this war is this war is just very vital in keeping the territorial integrity of Africa, also territorial integrity of Ethiopia and Ethiopian people. And what message do you have to Ethiopians so as to maintain their unity and win this battle of Africa together?
And I'm calling on my brother and sister Ethiopia. This is a survival war. This is the existence of the country. This is very important time. Ethiopia is at the crossroad. Of course, the TPLF leadership took approach to destroy Ethiopia. If they cannot be in leadership, they're going to dismantle. You cannot have, a control Ethiopian resources. They're going to dismantle Ethiopia. But it's not up to few TPLF leaders to destroy Ethiopia. Ethiopia have shown through history their resilience, their resistance to foreign power. We'll do the same thing with internal enemy, with the TPLF, not the Tigray people. Ethiopian people should come together, regardless our ethnicity, regardless the region where we come from. And I think the front line is the Afar region and Amaro region. If you don't fight today, you put in line the future of your children, of your grandchildren. It's a history. Let's make history together and stop TPLF, put them back to Tigray, and then find a peaceful solution for a better future together.
All right, great. Sir, thank you for joining us. Maybe you have something to address. You're welcome.
Well, I will, my message is more to my brothers and sisters back home in the United States. And I believe African diaspora and Ethiopian diaspora should be more active, advocate on behalf of Ethiopia, Ethiopian integrity, and defend democratically elected governments to overcome the difficult time of the civil war. I'm also calling on my government, Biden administration. It's about time to change the course, Mr. President. Supporting a TPLF against democratically elected governments, it doesn't serve the interest of America. America is better equipped than any other country. We have the largest African community, African diaspora, living outside Africa. We all are the best ambassador and defending American interests wherever we go. America should not worry about their interests in Africa. It's not also the interest of the Democratic Party. We saw the election of Virginia, that Ethiopian citizen, Ethiopian US citizen, Ethiopian origin, voted massively against Democratic Party because of our stand in Ethiopia. It's also talk, an organized movement today to vote against Democratic Party in midterm election. Would you rather advocate and contact your congressman and people you intend to vote for? Put pressure on them. They can change the course. And also call an African American congressman and woman to defend the motherland. Even though your ancestors left a long time ago, we're still African American. God bless Ethiopia and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Much thanks indeed for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Dear listeners, this is all we have for today. Thank you for being with us.